Hey, what is going on, you guys? It is Mr. No Sleep here from Old School RuneScape, and welcome to a brand new video for you all today. Today I bring you guys attempting the Coliseum, as you can see on screen there, for the very first time. So I promised myself that in 2025 I was going to take the game more seriously and I was going to go for in-game content that I've been avoiding for many years. So as most of you know, on January 1st I went for the Inferno Cape. I did obtain it after 27 attempts, a total of about 8 days of playing, and then about a week later I lost it. I did end up re-obtaining it, and I did get the Inferno pet. So once I got a couple of capes in the bank as well as the pet, I knew that I was done with the Inferno. As much as I loved it, it was time to move on to the Coliseum on the following month. So February 1st I decided to go for the Quiver. Of course, naturally, I backed out and decided to wait about 2 weeks, and so February 15th I ended up going for the Quiver. I've live streamed every single time that I've tried to do Coliseum so far up until this point. Even earlier today I was attempting it, and I will say that the number one question that I get asked from most people is, was the Inferno Cape harder or easier to obtain than the Quiver is to obtain? And in my experience so far, investing just shy of about 30 hours into this grind, I will say that everyone has a different opinion regarding this subject, regarding this question, but I definitely think obtaining the Quiver is much more difficult than the Inferno Cape. Now, similar to Inferno, I did not watch a guide before doing this on YouTube. I simply had my good friend Atto do a live Discord Coliseum run on his account, and I simply watched his screen the whole time. Now, he only did one run, and I did take a lot of notes, and there was a lot of options here. You know, I could have gone in with a melee only setup. I could have gone in with a mage only setup. You also have setups where you can bring range, mage, and melee, or setups where you can just bring range and melee. After dozens upon dozens of runs just using melee and range, I actually ended up deciding to go with a magic setup, and you'll see that towards the end of the video. That's kind of the setup that I'm working with as of today, as of this moment. But before we continue with today's video, this video is brought to you by Boot.dev. Boot.dev is building the smartest way to master backend development by tackling the hardest problem with online learning: boredom. Boot.dev uses tactics learned from modern game design to push ambitious students towards their goal, a career in backend development. Through hands-on lessons that balance theory with practice, as well as an active Discord community, you're going to be prepared to tackle technical interviews and forge a successful programming career. Just like in Old School RuneScape, on Boot.dev, you're going to be earning XP, levels, achievements, and you're going to be able to complete quests to get a top spot on the global leaderboard, all while learning how to code at the same time. And did you know that programmers have amazing earning potential? According to Stack Overflow, the median salary for backend developers in the US in 2023 was over $100,000. All the content on Boot.dev is free to read and watch in guest mode, but a paid membership unlocks all interactive features like hands-on coding, AI assistance, progress tracking, and game elements. Boot.dev never wants you to feel like you're not getting your money's worth, so they offer a 30-day no questions asked refund policy, as well as a free demo of every course and its interactive features. Learn how to code today by clicking the link in the description. Go to Boot.dev and use my code Mr. No Sleep to get 25% off your entire first year if you choose the annual plan. And a big thank you to Boot.dev for sponsoring today's video. One thing I love about the Coliseum is running to another pillar. When you have a really unfortunate stack, it's easy to separate the monsters if you just put on your Bulwark or your Elysian, depending on what you want to do, and you just run to the next pillar, and that way you can separate the monsters and you can kill them one by one. So I was using this tactic throughout the Coliseum grind. I didn't use it all the time, but it did come in handy for when I needed to get some monsters off of each other. As you can see, misclicks can be so deadly here. I was definitely struggling with wave 6 through 8, but after the very first day I actually got a personal best of 9, so I was very proud of that. A personal best of wave 9 on day 1 is no joke, just because of how new this content was for me and just the style of it, just the way these monsters are, the size of them, the true tile of them, understanding the distance and the range, and not to mention after every single time you complete a wave at the Coliseum, you have to basically choose a option out of 3 options to make this harder for you. So these options can vary from having to deal with multiple factors of avoiding things that are falling to things that are spawning on the ground to just avoiding more attacks from the monsters that you're dealing with. As you can see at the bottom left of the screen, those are showing, I believe they're called invocations. I should know this, but gosh, my mind is just fried. I mean, this Coliseum, man, there's so much going on. I do live stream it daily, so if I sound clueless about what I'm talking about, I do this, okay? I'm definitely doing this myself. I just struggle. I mean, look at this 1 HP warrior tank here. I mean, I just start clicking wildly when I panic, and things happen so fast in the Coliseum, and it just, yeah, you look away for 1 second, or you click the wrong prayer, and you die instantly. There's really not a lot of room for error here. Yeah, another death on wave 8. Truly a very difficult wave, and I wanted to do a little bit of Barrows in between this just to switch it up because I needed to just get my mind off of Coliseum. So there's 4,700 chests overall. I also spent all of my league points, which I've been meaning to do, and I did make well over, I think it was like 22 mil? Yeah, 22 mil from all of the Trailblazer tool ornament kits that I purchased. Alongside that, just doing Barrows and obtaining elite clue scrolls, it was helping make back some money on all of my deaths because those cost a lot. 5 HP warrior this time instead of 1 HP, but as you can see, you never want to give up in Coliseum. Just because you take a lot of damage doesn't mean you can't get it back. Even if you're using magic only, you can use Blood Barrage, but if you're using a nice melee setup like I was here, you can really rely on that Blood Fury to help out, as well as the Saradomin Godsword special attack. But as you can see, another wave 8 death, just insanity at its finest, or at its worst, depending on how you want to look at things. And yeah, I just kept dying, wave 8 just kept getting me, and it was just a little bit of every factor. When you start these waves, you have to kill these minions, these Fremennik warriors, and sometimes they would just overwhelm me, and I wouldn't click quick enough, and I would get stacked out in no time. As you can see here, 231 waves completed with a death count of over 50 so far, so we've already doubled the amount of attempts to get this quiver versus the Inferno cape, because like I said before, this is truly no joke. Wave 8 gets me killed, but Wave 7 does as well. But I will say one thing. By the very end of this video, I learned all of these waves effectively. Not accurately, but I can definitely get through them. I'm still trying to understand all of the basics. It just takes my mind a little bit to wrap my head around things. But overall, the waves to me are not the problem. It's actually the boss fight. So we're going to get to that very soon, but I would like to think throughout all of these deaths, you really do learn from your mistakes. And the beautiful thing about the Coliseum is that it doesn't take too long to get right back in. And that is one thing that I will say I love over the Inferno, is that it doesn't take 2 hours to get to Zuck or to get to the, higher level waves. Realistically, it only takes like 20 to 30 minutes, depending on, what setup you're using and how AFK you are. So these are the later waves. These are the waves where not only do you have to worry about the minions, the Fremennik warriors, whatever you want to call them, but simultaneously you're going to have to be prey flicking the Manta, which I just call the Lion. And as you can see here, just simply trying to kill all of the Fremennik warriors while doing the prey flicking is not the easiest thing in the world to learn, but you can grasp it after a while, and then you just have to take on one monster at a time, just like you're seeing here. And this was my magic only setup. It seemed to be the best course of action for me switching to this magic setup. I was actually able to get past all of these waves seemingly with no problem, and it just boosted my confidence. I'm not really sure why. I mean, you would think with a Saradomin Godsword, Torva, as well as a Scythe and a Blood Fury that you'd be set, and melee only might be the way to go, but for me, just using a Tunic and Shadow, it seemed to get me my new personal best. So here we are, tanking another pillar run, separating all that we can, and this time almost getting dropped because I was just in the wrong spot. I wasn't expecting the Lion to hit me there, but luckily, 1 HP, again, which I've never seen 1 HP so often except in the Coliseum. But now, as you can see, we're going to kill the Ranger. Unfortunately, we had an invocation turned on where anytime he threw a javelin, it would leave a mark on the ground, and you can't stand on that mark. I almost never have that turned on if I can avoid it, but yeah, that definitely stood out as something that I'm almost never having to be used to. So, that was unfortunate, but it is what it is. We got past wave 10 and now we're on wave 11 with some very humble spawns, and one more wave after this, ladies and gentlemen, and we are going to be at the boss fight, the Zuck, if you will, the Sol Heredit, I believe it's pronounced. But yeah, we are going to be there next. As you can see, wave 12 at the top left. Simply just tackling these monsters one by one, separating them when I can, and prey flicking, of course, when I can as well, and getting blood barrage to get me all of my HP back. I don't have as many supplies and resources in my inventory that I would like to have for this boss fight, but at the end of the day, I'm just proud of myself that I actually got here. I believe this was like the 4th live stream, so that's not terrible, like 4 days of attempting the quiver grind, and you actually end up at the boss. So as you can see here, we didn't have a whole lot of great choices, but we did choose frailty, and yeah, I mean, I guess I'll just have to deal with that. So with that being said, we are going to go into the fight, and this is truly the hardest part for me. This is a total of what, 49 minutes. As you can see, my waves aren't that bad. I think wave 11 took a little bit, but everything else was pretty on point. But now the fight begins, and this is where I struggle the most still to this day. This is the furthest that I've gotten. I mean, there really is no point past this one until you get the kill, and as you can see, the spawn is happening. And now I made the mistake of playing with game sounds on. Unfortunately, it was overwhelmingly loud. Like when I say over, it's just imagine a fire alarm going off in your ear. That's basically how loud I had my sounds on, and I, for some strange reason, kept them on, and it threw me off. But either way, I'm not trying to make excuses. I don't think I would have gotten this even despite, you know, having sounds turned on and turned off, but I was just misclicking left and right trying to get them turned off again, and I completely lost my focus because apparently when the spear is thrown out, you have to walk a certain way. When the shield is thrown out, you have to walk another way, and then alongside that, you have to deal with the special attacks. And there you go, I died. Now, if you guys have any advice regarding the Sol Heredit fight, especially the L method, please leave it in the comment section below, or maybe a guide. I mean, I know I'm like asking you guys for help here, but man, I really need help. What can I say? I mean, we can't go back to Barrows, you know? I mean, we will do a little bit of Barrows here, show you guys some footage. What can I say? But yeah, this quiver, this fight, it's a lot going on. I'm confident that I can get back to Sol Heredit, but I'm not confident that I can kill Sol. So hopefully by the next video, just like the Inferno Cape, you know, this video is the preview, and then the next video, hopefully we actually obtain the item. This is, it's a grind and a half. I'm really not sure when I'm going to complete this, if I'm going to stay consistent with it. I think I will. I'm not that disappointed that I didn't get it accomplished in February. February was a hell of a month, and at the end of the day, I got very close. And honestly, I've gotten further in RuneScape in the last 2 months than I think I have in the last like 5 years. So I really feel accomplished. I just need to get this down. So if you have any advice for the boss fight, feel free to leave it in the comments section below. I would really appreciate it. If you maybe have a link to a very simplistic guide, feel free to throw that in there below. I'll be reading every single comment just like I do every video. So I would definitely appreciate your guys' wisdom and advice regarding that last fight. And with all that being said, I just want to say a huge thank you to you guys for watching today's video. A reminder, if you want to check out Boot.dev in the description below, it does help out the channel a lot if you click that link. And a big thank you to the YouTube channel members as well, with a special shout out to DaeDogGaming, xXzoticx, and DeceptionZ. Hopefully, we're going to get that quiver in the coming month, because as of about 3 hours from now, it will be March. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time today. Until next time, Mr. No Sleep out.